The gatekeeping in the booktube world is sometimes worse than in the beauty community. Just as harsh, if not harsher. There's writing on my books, maybe not even by me. Alrighty, friends. Today I'm talking about some controversial book opinions, and I've seen this kind of floating around online before. I've watched videos about it, read forums about it, and I thought I'd contribute some of my own controversial opinions to the pot. So, without much further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to kick this off with what might be my most controversial book opinion, and that's because I feel like I can speak to this because I'm part of both worlds in the YouTube community. At least I believe I am. And that is the gatekeeping in the booktube world is sometimes worse than in the beauty community. Now, before we get up in arms, let me explain myself first. Because like I said, I think I am part of both communities. I'm definitely new to BookTube, so I'm sure some of you guys will have differing opinions on this. But I think there's definitely a difference in opinions in the beauty community, which is acceptable. Sometimes I feel like having difference of opinions in the booktube world is not as acceptable, or it's more widely criticized. For example, if I have a beauty product that I particularly like and then I see someone else who uses that product and doesn't like it or it doesn't work for them, it's kind of chalked up to, well, maybe it didn't work for their skin, maybe what they're looking for is something different. Preferences can vary in the beauty community when it comes to products. When it comes to books in the booktube community, I feel like people take it very personally if you don't share the same opinions on a book that they have heavy opinions about, whether they have a large disdain for that book or where they have a huge admiration for that book. And I, for one, feel like sometimes I am not allowed to voice my own opinions on books, or like have varying or different or more controversial opinions on books that are more popular, because I'm more afraid of the booktube community tearing me apart than I really am of the beauty community. Isn't that crazy? Because I feel like the beauty community is definitely one of the clickiest or known as the clickiest community, and there's always drama and it always bleeds into the rest of YouTube. But boy, do I have to tell you, sometimes booktube can be just as harsh, if not harsher. So while I'm happy to be here, it's definitely taken some getting used to, and I still I have a bit of a learning curve to go through before I'm ever going to be okay with having very, very different opinions on BookTube. But you guys will have to let me know in the comment section down below if you guys can understand what I'm trying to say, because I don't even know if I'm explaining myself well enough or if I'm just not making sense. Or even maybe you understand what I'm saying and you can kind of sound off down below. I guess I'm just gonna go with my most controversial down to my most vanilla type opinions. And the next controversial opinion that I have is that you don't have to prove yourself as a reader. Again, this is something that I'm guilty of and have definitely experienced coming to the booktube community and being new here. But I feel like for the longest time I had something to prove, whether that was the amount of books I was reading or the types of takes I had on books, or whether the reviews I was giving were intellectual enough. And sometimes I just had to realize it's okay to just like a book because you like a book, or just get the pure entertainment value out of a book. Books sometimes I feel like get over intellectualized when maybe it's okay to not do that. And I know I've said that and called myself out in videos before where I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm not giving a critical enough analysis of the book that I'm reading. But at the end of the day, it's okay to maybe not understand the subtext or the underlying meaning of a word or a sentence or paragraph in a book. It's okay to just read a book to read a book. Again, you don't have to prove yourself as a reader. Not only that, but you don't have to read so many books to be a reader. Again, I'm guilty of this because sometimes when I look at my lower book counts for the months and do my reading wrap-ups, I'm like, ooh, I only read a couple books this month. But you know what? That's just how the flow of reading goes, and I don't want to take away the experience of reading for myself by adding in this whole I have to have so many books read by the end of the month. So maybe you guys are familiar with that. I just want to throw this out there in case you needed a little reminder of a controversial book opinion, or maybe this isn't even that controversial. I just feel like I needed to reiterate it, not only for you guys but myself as well. So you don't have to prove yourself as a reader. It's okay. Don't let anyone else gatekeep that either. What else do I got here? Ooh, This is another one that I think, or at least I've noticed, I have a very different opinion on than some of my other fellow booktubers or the book community, and that is I freaking love the aesthetic of used books. And I see beautiful bookshelves that are pristine, the books are clean and crisp, the spines are nice, the color is in rainbow order, there's organization. My bookshelf looks like a hot mess. I have books hanging out of it, I have tattered pages, the spines are all bent and very clearly used, there's writing on my books, maybe not even by me. I like that. I like seeing books that have been well used and hopefully well loved and have been experienced by a lot of other fellow readers. I just find like camaraderie in that. Is that weird? Actually, some of my favorite types of books are like old decommissioned library books where they still have the like checkout date card in them, and then I can see who rented it and when they returned it. I just think that's fascinating, and it gives a history to the book itself, and I feel like, again, I'm experiencing the book with other readers. So I like that. I like old books. I like the smell of old books. I like having my bookshelves kind of disorganized, or I have like my own way of organizing my books. So that's another controversial book opinion, at least I think so, that I've noticed I might differ from other booktubers in. This one's actually kind of a vanilla controversial book opinion, because when I was watching a couple of these videos in preparation for creating this video myself, the idea of, are you a hardback or a paperback reader? Which one do you prefer? Came up quite a bit. And I have to say, I do actually prefer paperbacks when it comes to reading. I just think they make more sense than hardbacks. My wrists get tired from a hardback, and I feel like they're a very heavy book when I'm reading a hardback. It's just not as like pleasant of an experience when I'm using or reading a hardback. And on top of that, I'm not really the type of person that like revisits books a ton. If I do, it might be like once or twice in my lifetime with the book that I reread it. But because of that, the books that I have don't get used past me reading them once unless they were read by other people beforehand. So I'm okay with having paperbacks, even though I know like the argument against them is that they don't last as long and they're not as durable. I like the aesthetic of hardbacks, but if it comes to reading, they drive me nuts. Frankly, just nuts. And on top of that, to knock out all of those opinions I just made, I honestly like reading from my Kindle the most. In fact, I think it is the most streamlined way to read books. I like that it's backlit, I like that it's light, I like that I can tap pages, and sometimes I'll even rent or loan out books that I already have sitting in my bookshelves from the library, the Kindle version, just so I can read it on my Kindle. I'm that person. I hope you're not behind me when you're trying to loan books out at the library. Whoops. Last but not least, the last controversial book opinion I have is that I firmly believe audiobooks are a form of reading, if not reading itself. Listening to audiobooks is getting an experience. I don't know about you guys, but when I read books, I hear them in my head, or like I'm reading the lines in my head. So listening to an audiobook to me is not that much different, besides the fact I'm not physically holding a book and reading it with my eyeballs. So I know some people are a little pretentious about their audiobooks versus like reading books, but I think it's reading. I think you get a point on Goodreads. You can mark it off as read, whatever you do, however you log it. Audiobooks count as books, okay? Whoever told you anything different, they're just upset that you can listen to books. I don't know. I don't know why they're upset. Why are they upset? They shouldn't be upset. It's reading. I lied. I have one more controversial opinion to round off this video and finish it off. And that is, I can never wear my Stephen King shirt enough. In fact, this is probably one of my most worn shirts, and I'm realizing I wear this in so many of my videos because it just happens to be in that cycle of like I wore it, threw it in the wash, and then take it out of the wash and throw it back on while I'm doing laundry. So yeah, that's why I wear it so often, and frankly, I just like it and it makes me happy. So there's, you know, never too many times that I'm wearing this shirt. We get the joke, right? Anyways, guys, so those are my controversial book opinions. I want to hear some of your guys' controversial book opinions down in the comment section down below, or if you guys think differently about my opinions, I would be happy and love to read them. I keep up with my comment section and try to read all of them and respond to them as I can. So sound off in the comment section down below, and I will keep an eye out down there. As always, I hope you guys are happy and healthy, and don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.